Here's Plotly Studio. I've logged into Plotly Cloud. I could have logged into Dash Enterprise, but I just happened to be logged into Cloud for the demo today. And this is the first screen that you're going to see. This is our brand new project screen, and it looks a little nicer than you've seen it in the past. We squashed these cards a little bit to give you more real estate. And now we have this really handy search feature at the top. So if I want to find a particular project, I can just type and it will filter that list for me. So nice, especially if you've been using this tool since early access and you've got a massive cache of projects. Well, now you have a way of kind of cutting through the noise and finding the one that you want. That's a huge benefit. If you click on this triple dots menu, you can go into the project details modal. Here you can put in some useful title and description for yourself. But you can also put in tags. You can of course drag and drop a CSV or a Parquet file. No problem. You can even try with some sample data that we bundle in with the project, no problem. But where it gets really exciting is where you can do things like asking it to synthesize data for you. So let's say you have a proprietary data set, you want to kick the tires, but you don't really want to put your private data into Plotly Studio yet, totally understandable. Just tell it exactly the types of things you expect to see, the column names, the data types, right? Just list those things out and it will actually synthesize that with Python. It'll allow you to test out sample data and see the types of analysis you can do without actually running your data through it until you're ready, which is awesome. But beyond that, you can connect to various data sources. If I wanted to connect to Snowflake, I just type connect to Snowflake. I was working with somebody internally this week. We wanted to connect to Salesforce, and I told them just to say connect to Salesforce, and then we'll go from there. What I'm going to do is generate the boilerplate project. So this is basically going to go through and create the layout and the theme and our core components that come with every application, like the filter, the data cards, the data table. We'll see this all in just a second. And while we wait, we've got this really handy modal that shows you what you can do with Plotly Studio, right? It can be kind of daunting to know where to start. So we walk you through kind of all of the most important aspects while you wait. And our app will generate behind the scenes. We're going to hop over to the Explore page because there's a bunch to show over here. So in reality, what's happening when we generate those 6 charts is it's actually going to pick 6 charts from each of these analytical categories. Everybody remember what that image looked like? I hope so. I'm going to drag and drop that from my desktop here. And I'm going to give this just a little bit of steering. The steering is basically just to reinforce that it's monthly performance rate of growth. I want to do this on a store-by-store basis. So show me store number 1 by default, and then let me pick one store to view at a time. And that's all I need. And I'm going to say create. And this is going to go off and create this new chart for me, and we'll see it in just a few seconds. So this is the interpretation. So it got that it's a combo chart, pretty amazing, multiple marks here shown of monthly performance rate and growth. It got the X and the multiple Ys right, amazing, and it even picked up that there's a trend line there, and I didn't have to tell it that. It got all of that directly from the image. So when I'm editing, all I have to do is write natural language, right? So if I come in here, actually, before I do that, I should probably point out that there's a remix button. If I don't write anything in this chart, I can just push the remix button and it will resubmit the original prompt, but it asks the LLM to turn up the creativity knob just a hair. And that's really useful if you put some instructions into the prompt and they weren't immediately kind of picked up by the LLM. If the LLM chose to ignore those things, you can push the remix button a few times and it will get progressively more creative. If you are a Max Plan user, you can export the entire code base into a zip package. You can deploy it directly to Dash Enterprise and to Plotly Cloud. We have this new PDF report generation feature, which is pretty great. It just builds a report on the fly. So, and then last but not least is publishing directly to Plotly Cloud. So what I can do in here is I can set the visibility. Maybe I'll make this one private, and then I can push publish app. And over the next 1 to 5 minutes, this is going to transmit my project up to Plotly Cloud, build a container, deploy it, and then it will give me a URL that I can click on and go view that application.
These new flows that we're looking into, it's more of a multi-step flow. So instead of just doing one shot from prompt to chart, we take the prompt that you have, and then we create a series of steps that the Plotly Studio AI can go through to answer your question and analyze your data. A lot of data analysis is iterative. As we create charts for our dashboards or data apps, often we might have to create 10, 20 different charts before we find the right one. And this multi-step process is some of the workflows that we're exploring today in Plotly Studio to help you out with that. We just look at some of the other examples that I love in this. Let's look at that comparison that we kicked off at the beginning. This was just a few minutes ago. It ran for about 4 minutes or so. We saw some temporal changes. We saw some heat maps in here, and then some really nice maps showing these two different neighborhoods and different cases. It's pretty amazing. All of the Plotly chart types are available, all backed by code, all computational, and really accelerated through AI. So this is just a sneak peek at some of the new stuff we're cooking up, and we'll have more announcements about this as it makes its way into the product and as we get it available for you to give us more feedback on.